now. It's just come on.
Okay, all right. I don't know why it's not streaming. Oh, it is now.
There it is. Oh, you're in there. Okay, cool.
Okay. Hey there, Sally.
Hey, how are you, Paul? Woohoo.
I'm awesome. How are you?
Good. We were just saying it's now 9th of August. It's madness. Like this year is racing through.
August. Before we know it, the year will be upon us. And what's the message on your shirt today?
Today, what am I doing? I'm empowering strength, growth, and courage.
Empowering strength.
And at the same time, I'm choosing to create.
All right, great. Okay.
I'm
going to get a lot more viewers if you keep flashing.
Oh, man.
So, Sally, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
What's your biggest asset?
Well, there's lots of things, but at the end of the day, my health.
Yeah, yourself, your ability to earn an income. So, now
that's yourself. Right. Yeah. Yes, yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about because now you know that I do insurance, and in 23 years of insurance, I've never had so many people that have been sick and been going on claims than I have right now.
Mm.
And I thought we might just talk about the importance of protecting yourself and all of those things.
Yep.
And I know your father was a financial advisor as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, for many, many years. So what sort of claims are people filing?
So I've got someone very close to me that's in the last few days been told he's got 6 months to live. Right.
Yep.
So he's been on income protection claim. Now that's going up to a life claim, which means even though he's not dead yet, but because he's been told that he's terminally ill, they will make the payment now before he actually dies. So hopefully he and his family can, it's quite a sizable sum of money. So maybe they can spend some of that and just create some final memories,
Oh, I didn't know that you could do that. Like, that makes sense, so that you can have your bucket list and do special, memorable things together for everyone.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to fit in. My bucket list is so long, you got to fit a lot of things in the bucket list. maybe if that was my situation, maybe I just keep alive until I've done them all. I keep adding more to the bucket list.
Yeah, but just thinking, because when and with very upsetting information like that, when the doctors have said, okay, roughly how long it's a piece of string, but then it gives you a new perspective on life, right? Literally, enjoying the moments and what's important. And if you have that extra income, that's amazing. Like access to finances to create some of these dreams come true. It might be a family holiday through Europe, who knows, or it might be purchasing something or getting a Ferrari, whatever it is that you just, that might be on your bucket list and you're bringing it forward. Wow.
Why not? I mean, you buy a Ferrari, you got 6 months. You can rev it up for 6 months and then you don't have to worry about the ongoing cost of the Ferrari.
Yeah.
Depreciation of that as well. But another important thing about, when you are feeling ill and sick, stress is one of the major causes of this illness. And one of the biggest people stress about is money.
Yeah.
So if you can take that stress away, that makes a huge difference to the recovery period of people as well.
Yeah. It's interesting. I just did a live before with Ali, actually, talking about the impact of stress when we create drama. So drama just fuels things and fuels the stress. It's like this synergy between the two, and this connection of creating drama out of a situation, amplifying whatever's going on in a negative way, is increasing the stress in our bodies. And, it affects all the hormones, it affects your digestion, it affects your entire existence. And your quality of life is affected by stress. So reducing the drama, no matter what the situation, even when it's a life-threatening situation that's going on, there's still different ways of looking at it. We can always perceive to be negatives and positives out of every situation. And no matter how shit the situation, there are positives to be found where you can reduce the stress. And like, look, you were just talking about a situation where, you know, able to bring forward some insurance money so that you can create some really lovely moments out of it. So I'm all about preventing illness. So, you know, you're saying protecting your greatest asset. There's so many things we can be doing. For instance, my father, who's just been living with me for a number of months, recovering from cancer, and at the end of it, and he's mid-80s, and the doctor said, look, you can go on chemo, but the greatest gift you can have or give yourself is to eat well and to exercise. You know, you can take all this chemo and stuff with, I think it was a 5% increase or reduction in risk of the cancer coming back, but it was double that by eating well and exercising. So protecting your greatest asset is something that you can do by just how you live your life, how your lifestyle is, and that's reducing the stress included in that.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned eating well, because that is so important, but it's actually quite hard. Somebody was telling me, you know, McDonald's fries?
Yes.
You know how everybody loves their fries?
Yeah.
I was told there's 11 chemicals put into that to make the fries the way they are. So every time you have a McDonald's fry, there's 11 chemicals that you ingest in as well.
Oh, nothing would surprise me. Years ago when I was in banking, and we're talking back in the 90s, you know, I think it was kind of common then. People would get their hamburgers and leave them on their computer tops or whatever, and just they never decomposed. So imagine what it does to your body if you're eating that sort of shit. It doesn't decompose.
Absolutely. And the other thing about the food, and you and I know, we both did Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and I've studied him quite a lot. And one of the things you're saying is that when you bless the food, you know how people pray and they're actually blessing the food, and that actually makes your food go down better. So you should always be blessing your food and giving thanks for. I mean, I haven't been doing it, but it makes sense, you know, like there's an energy, and you're all about energy.
Yep.
And, you know, your food is an energy source as well. So, and because you're an energy source, it's reacting to your energy resource. So if you've got positive, blessing, thankful energy, when you eat it, it actually is a healthier, even though it's the same hamburger, for the person that's blessing it, it's actually healthier than for the one that gets it's just a hamburger.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I've been doing a lot of healing work. I had a lot of healing work done on myself lately, and it's increased my sensitivities. So just in the past 2 weeks, I've had amazing gut issues from, and it hasn't been eating particularly badly, but I had a pizza, gluten-free, a couple of weeks ago. I might do 1 or 2 a year just as a treat. Do you get Pizza Religion up there? They are the best pizzas. They are the best. They're
Pizza
really
what? Pizza Origin?
Pizza Religion. Don't know if you get
No.
them in Sydney. So, okay, they're highly expensive. You get 2 pizzas, no change out of $60. So, like, they're pretty hard.
They are expensive, yeah.
The gourmet or gourmet, whatever. But I had a little bit of chili on that, and my gut is so sensitive now to that all night I didn't sleep, in the next day. Then last week I was out at homegrown produce at a winery just near where I live with friends on Saturday, and I don't eat garlic, but there was garlic laden on the potatoes. And once again, the whole night, the whole next day. And, you know, imagine now if I had McDonald's burger, or, you know, something that was just full of trans fatty acids and shit takeaway food, like, you know, really crap food.
Well, you know what? It'll be interesting. Why don't we do it and we can report back next week?
Well, actually, I had one of my clients, and she's incredibly clean, and she'd actually detoxed her body too far. Anyway, as part of the healing we had to do, take her out of her normal frequency or alignment. And so she actually had pizza and red wine for dinner. And she said, oh my God, she said the next day, tasted so good. But she said, it took me a week to get over it, because it doesn't do dairy and, you know, everything that was in it, because it was such a clean system. So, yeah, once you clean your engine up, or your body up, it's, you know, that's a good way to protect it, and realize when you're putting things into it or doing things that it doesn't like, because it becomes more and more sensitive.
Absolutely. Well, imagine if you came from the past, like 1,000 years ago to today's, and you try to eat today's food, you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't survive because it's all so highly processed.
Oh, I know. I went on that detox in July. I went over to Thailand to a wellness retreat, which was a detox for a week. And so it was all just light food. So it was like green juices and smoothies and soup. So no meat and nothing too heavy. And I felt like a pin had popped a balloon. My body was coming down and realizing the amount of stress that the body was taking through its food, but also with the environment and being in just under stress itself, how it impacts your body. And I could just feel all the inflammation leaving the body when the stress had been taken away, stress from food, but stress from work, stress from everything, because it was a week away of no computers, no texting, no phones, no anything. And it was amazing just living
But you're in
through.
Thailand as well, weren't you?
Yeah, and I was in Thailand. So
Well, you're in paradise as it is. And I've been to Koh Samui. It's a beautiful place.
yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But that's stress. So when you say protecting your greatest asset, removing as much stress as you can would be one of the key things you could do.
Yeah. And there's also the mental stress of just the daily things you do. If you're listening to the news, it's affecting you. And the news, it's mostly negative stuff.
Yeah. 100%. It's years ago, back in the 90s, again, I was studying naturopathy, and that's when they introduced, how your emotions affect your digestion and everything, because you subconsciously watching the news, which is majority bad stuff, and your body's reacting to it. So, you're trying to eat and swallow. I mean, we grew up watching TV, the news, when we had dinner. Dad would walk in the door, he wants to catch up on everything. He had the view of the TV, and we all sat around the table. Like, can you imagine what that's doing when you're listening? I mean, I'm sure the crime wasn't as high back then or whatever, but still it's negative, particularly now. So your body's very, very sensitive. It's just very sensitive to the environment. And as you said, there's so many forms of stress. It's not just physical stress from working out. There's mental stress, emotional stress. There's chemical stress on us, just pollutions, just environmental stuff. Stress is all around us and within us. So whatever we can do to reduce the stuff that we can control, work on that.
I know Nicolette, you and I know Nicolette. She's very good at that, and she's always detoxifying. And it's not just, and it's food. You got, and that's my biggest weakness, is the food I eat is probably, no, it's definitely not the best. I can have chili and I can have garlic, and I love chili. Chili's my favorite. Give me chili, I'll pile it on that thick.
Yeah, I used to be like that. What about dairy? See, I'm gluten free and dairy free.
I'm fine with dairy as well. When you've got a young family, and one child in particular that is so fussy, like after yesterday I got home and my wife goes, do you want to eat? And they had chicken wings, right? I went, no, I ate at my brother's house, because the family got together. And I said, no, I won't, I'm full. She says, well, the kids didn't eat the chicken wings. I said, why not? They said, oh, because there's a little bit of burnt on them. And it wasn't burnt, it's just crunchy.
It's a marinade or whatever, yeah, I know.
And they just won't even touch it. And then, and so when you're growing up with young kids, especially one that has, and then the other one follows suit. So it's kind of hard, but the way I'm looking at it is I'm still young, I hope. And once you get beyond certain areas in your life, certain levels, I'm still waiting for the FU level. You know what the FU level is?
Remind me again.
Where you tell your boss to go, fuck you. Because you've got enough money, kind of thing.
Yeah, right. That level.
that level. So when you get to that level, and even though I'm self-employed,
was just about to say we're both self-employed. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But still, for me, the FU level is to the government, right? Or the legislators in my industry.
Yeah.
But once you get beyond to that, and then you can turn around and say, okay, well, let's just be able to focus on the healthy eating side of it. But it is important, and as you get older, it is very important.
100%, 100%. So thinking is just as important as you doing, because when you're thinking in a well way, or then you're living in a well way, you're acting in a well way. So, I think, as I said before, preventing what you can do now to prevent illness down the track is super duper important. So it's just small little tweaks, because people get so overwhelmed with, oh, I should get off sugar, I should do this and that. Yeah, sure, there's a million things we should be doing. But if we just start with one small, simple little tweak, it might be, not eating after 7, or it might be not buying the chocolate that you find that you binge on at night time, or just little changes in your behavior can have monumental effects down the track. Like, for example, Dad's staying with me. He's old school, wasn't brought up to drink water. But by the time he left and moved out, he actually got a water tank, because he realised the benefits of drinking water. He moans and says, I'm on the toilet all the time. I said, yeah, but you've got to flush it out. Imagine if you're not flushing that stuff out, it's getting stuck in your cells and your muscles. So little things, and they finally become a habit. So, little things that we can do now to protect ourselves, like reducing the stress. What can you do to prevent stress or reduce the stress that you've got in your life? Lots of things.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I've been doing that, one thing at a time. No television reduces the stress. No news reduces the stress. No Netflix. Well, Netflix one night a week. I mean, I watched a movie with my wife. It was a stupid movie, but just the way you process it after, and it's not true and all that, but still, you process it overnight. Whereas, if you're feeding yourself something positive, that helps. I know I've stopped drinking coffee, and that's a hard one, because, geez, coffees. Do you drink coffee?
I gave it up in 94. So what's that? Nearly 30 years ago. I love the smell of it, but you know how I gave it up? I was working in banking, and just to have a break, he'd go and get a coffee, and it was International Roast, and it was so disgusting.
I was
having like 10 a day, and I can still feel the yucky milk on the top of this disgusting coffee, and in these little plastic cups. And I can't drink a coffee since then. I just OD'd on it. It was disgusting. So
it's funny you say that, because the reason why I gave up coffee was I was having about 7 cups a day.
Yeah.
Right. And every time you have coffee, you have 2 sugars.
Oh, right.
So all that sugar you're having. So I thought, no, that's it. So I have hot chocolate now.
Right.
But what I've started doing is I've got chocolate bar. So I just throw a slice of chocolate in there, make it nice and chocolatey.
Oh, nice. You can get your cayenne nibs and stuff as well if you want to go a bit healthier. But
right.
Good. See, there's little tweaks, right? Little tweaks, because, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. So, let's just enjoy the moments, and whatever we can do to prolong our health and reduce the incidence of illness, or, put the lid down on it so it doesn't become such a big issue down the track, because we want to enjoy our moments.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and we're going to have to wrap up now, but it's the quality of life. So if you're healthy, it's a good life. If you got a bit of money, that helps as well. It's when things start coming off rails, that's when life becomes horrible.
Oh, it's so true. Look at us in our 50s now, and little things start to niggle.
Yeah, in your 50s.
And so many of my clients go, oh my God, I'm starting to feel this, I'm starting to feel that, and life does catch up with you. So can you imagine where we'd be in our 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s if we didn't start doing things now? Because you and I both love to exercise, good for our mental health, but also good to keep your body fit, healthy, and all that stuff. Because if you don't move it, you lose it. And that's the same with your brain, with any muscle, right, in your body. So, there's just little things that we can do, and look at why you want to do it, because the more you're motivated and inspired to do it, the more you'll get into doing it.
Absolutely. Well said. I know that when I was in my 40s, I went partying like I was in my 20s. And the 20-year-olds were saying, how can you keep up?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I live in Martin Place, so I don't have to worry about getting home, so I can just drink as much as I want.
Yeah.
That's another thing I've stopped doing is I've almost no alcohol, very little alcohol. That's another thing. All right, so Sally, any final thoughts? Your biggest asset is?
Well, I did start saying was my health, but that really at the end of the day, it is yourself, right? It is looking after your whole self on every level, mind, body, and soul. So absolutely, move it or lose it. And as you said, it's the quality of life, not the quantity of life. So enjoy every moment, because when you get back to basics, get back to nature, you can really find that deep connection and really let a lot of the other stuff go. The more superficial stuff can sort of peter away.
Well said. I don't think I could have said that better myself. Right. So look, thank you for your time today, and we'll be back next week.
Oh, cool. All righty. Go and enjoy. I'm going to go out and enjoy the sunshine. It's beautiful here.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day in Sydney, but it's still winter, and I'm just sitting in a business shirt. It's crazy.
I know. I won't show you, but I've got on my little hot pants today because it's it's so warm. Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe everyone else wants to see that. I mean, you flushed your boobs already. What's the difference?
Oh, man. All right. On that note, I'll see you next week, Paul.
Thanks. All right.